Hi, I'm Becky and welcome. I'm going to, in this video, show you how to make In-N-Out monster burgers that are gluten-free and dairy-free. So I'm out in Georgia, so I'm on the East Coast, and unfortunately we don't have any In-N-Out burger places here because anywhere we go, or anytime we go out west, we're always looking for an In-N-Out burger place to go to. And I usually just get those like protein style wrapped in lettuce, things like that. That keeps it kind of gluten-free. But anyways, so I wanted to make though a recipe that was gluten-free and dairy-free so I could enjoy like the cheese-like effect with like a dairy-free American cheese and all the good toppings and things like that. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and it's a very simple recipe, and I really kind of saw this special sauce, and it's from Primal Kitchen. It's actually like a dipping sauce, but I'm going to use this as kind of like their monster sauce, the one that has like the mayonnaise, the ketchup, the pickle relish, things like that. I don't think it has pickle relish in this, so if you wanted to up the relish factor, just go ahead and put some of that in and mix it. I just wanted to make this recipe super simple and super easy when you're kind of craving something like that. If you're out west, well, I wish I was you because you could go to In-N-Out anytime. We have Five Guys over here, but it's just not the same. So, which is a very controversial thing to say actually. So I'm gonna I have a pound of ground beef here, and I'm going to make sure to have like the toppings. So I'll have like a tomato that I'm gonna slice up. Also, I'm gonna take this yellow onion, I'm gonna just dice it up, and then I'm going to cook it in some avocado oil until it kind of becomes translucent. So usually just a few minutes, 3 or 4 minutes to do that. That'll be part of my topping. I also have this American cheese slices. It's the only brand I could find with the dairy-free American slices. It's not my favorite cheese brand, but it'll work. And then I have lettuce that I'm gonna chop up. And now instead of burgers, I'm going to actually kind of make these more like sliders. So I've done another video, and you can watch that here, and it's basically talking about Super Bowl appetizers, and that was dairy-free, gluten-free buffalo chicken dip. So I wanted to kind of do the same concept of something you could do as like an appetizer for the Super Bowl, but really you could kind of do it anytime. I'm gonna make this really as a meal for us to have as a meal for me and my husband, but you could also have it as like an appetizer, like mini sliders for Super Bowl. That would be so much fun. Or just any time that you're looking to offer things to people that are needing gluten-free, dairy-free. Now, all this is also soy-free. That's usually how I cook as well, just because that's something that I feel better when I don't have soy. And so, yeah, so I'm gonna actually, now for the actual buns, I found these little Hawaiian sweet rolls from Canyon Bakehouse. I've never tried these, so this will be my first time trying them. And they're a little bit, you can tell they're dense and kind of heavier than like your typical like the ones with gluten, but they're dairy, soy, and nut-free. So if you're looking, and gluten-free. So that is gonna be something that I'm going to put the little burger sliders on to keep them gluten-free and dairy-free. So I also have pickles here too, because I'm not gonna have pickle relish in there, but I wanna put pickles when I'm making them. And I have the Grillo's pickles because I've been enjoying those recently. They've been really tasty. So let me go ahead and make this recipe. Okay, so I have gotten my toppings ready, and I have formed my ground beef into smaller patties so that they will fit more on these size. So you can see my hand as a reference. These are the size of like the Hawaiian sweet rolls. They're gluten-free and dairy-free. They are very crummy. And then they like have a lot of crumbs. I don't know, I think they'll taste good. But then we've got lettuce chopped up and a few slices of tomato. I don't have a ton of tomatoes just because I actually don't like tomatoes on my burgers. I'm pretty simple with my burgers. I do like a good like caramelized onion now to my burgers. I used to not like that. So I have chopped up some onion, and I'm gonna pop that onto the stove. I also have my dairy-free American cheese slices. So just make sure to grill the onions. So I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna do that I'm gonna grill my onions actually before I cook my beef patties, because I want my beef to be as warm as possible. So I'm gonna cook the onions first. So that will help that to be nice and warm, because I like this, like the dairy-free cheese, for instance, the American cheese, I want it to be as melted as possible. I know dairy-free cheese doesn't melt as good as regular cheese, but I will want it to as much as possible. So I have the grilled onions, and a little tip about cutting onions. If you are ever like me and you start to get teary-eyed when you cut onions, if you put it in the fridge or the freezer just for like a few minutes before, or maybe like 30 minutes before actually you chop it, you won't have as much of those oils, so it'll actually not make you cry as much. I always find that when I put my onions in the refrigerator and then like the next day I use the rest of the onion, I don't have that problem. So there's a little tip for you if you're looking to not cry as much when you're cutting onions. Okay, so I'm going to cook up my onions until they're translucent and like they're caramelized. I'm gonna put them separate. And then the last thing will be to cook up this and then assemble the little burger sliders into the In-N-Out Monster style burgers that In-N-Out is famous for. Okay, so now I'm gonna take up my ground beef patties. I just put a little bit of salt on them, and I am going to now put them on the stove, and I'm just going to cook them. You can cook them to the temperature that you like. I personally like mine well done, but that's, I'm sure, not typical for people. But you kind of want to think about it like what size will fit like the bun that you end up using for this, because it is going to shrink a little bit when you cook, but you do want it to not be too big because obviously it'll be a lot harder and messier to eat the slider. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these on the stove and let them cook a few minutes on each side until they're well done, or the temperature that you'd like, and then we will assemble them. I could fit about 5 of those mini slider burgers on the one pan. I have just like a normal size pan that fits like the entire part of the stove, and I do have this is just like a splash thing because I don't like the grease getting on my stove, so it kind of helps with that. But they are cooking in there right now, and then I'm cooking up the onions at the same time. I started those first because I'm okay with those being a little bit cold. Okay, so I have just flipped the burgers, and I kind of pressed down on them a little bit just to kind of flatten them out, making sure I know that they're going to shrink a little bit. I still want them to fit on the slider buns. I don't want them to be too big. I'm trying to have them cook a little bit faster. So I'm doing that. At the same time, my onions are just about ready, and you're just kind of making them so that they're translucent. That's kind of yum. I just love the flavor of cooked onions. They just taste so good. I have trouble eating like a raw onion. You know, I know they sometimes chop those up and put them on burgers. I just don't like that as much. I really like them when they're cooked. So that's almost done, and then we will have our toppings as well. So you'll have to let me know in the comments below if you love In-N-Out's Monster Burger or not, or if you want to maybe see a recipe for the Monster style fries that they also have on their secret menu that's not so secret, because I could make that as well. So just let me know in the comments below if you want to see anything like that. But I'd also like to know if In-N-Out and Five Guys, if there's ever like kind of, you've heard how there's like a little bit of a competition between the two and which one you prefer. Out on the East Coast, most people, just because we have them, say Five Guys, and I don't know what it is, but In-N-Out has just, I think when you go to somewhere and you're really, really hungry and it just, everything tastes so good, and then that like memory is ingrained in your brain. I think it's happened with me multiple times with In-N-Out, because it's always been really nice trips that we've gone out west, because we have some family out there, and it's just makes me, I guess, have really good memories. And because of that, I just really love In-N-Out. I love how simple the menu is. It doesn't take me a long time to decide. I usually do their burgers protein style, and you can add some like pickles, and it makes it a little bit nicer, ketchup, things like that. It's a little bit harder, and you can't do cheese if you don't want to bring your own dairy-free cheese. But anyways, this is the special sauce, and I think this is going to be really good on the burger sliders. And what you might want to do too with the burger sliders is you might want to toast them as well, because I really want that dairy-free cheese to melt as much as possible. So we're going to do the bottom layer where we're going to have the special sauce, and then we're going to put the burger patty on top, and for my husband, and then the lettuce, and then the dairy-free cheese at the very top, up against the other warm side, because I'm hoping that will make it warm enough. If not, I might actually just throw the cheese on top so that it melts, because there's just so much, it's so much better when like the dairy-free cheese has like that melted type effect, like real cheese. So the grilled onions are done. It's just, you just chop them up as finely as you want, or chunkier if you want. Those are also going to be on, I'm going to put this on the bottom of the little burger patty, and I might put the pickles underneath there too. I think that's how In-N-Out normally does theirs. If not, if you're kind of sliding off, just you can put the pickle chips on the side. things like that. Okay, so my burger patties, they're ready to go. So I'm gonna pull them off of the stove, put them on a plate, and then my little sliders are toasting up. Once they're a little bit warmer, then I'm gonna put some of the slices of the American cheese and dairy-free. You can see this is like the normal size of an American cheese slice. So I'm probably going to kind of fold it over so that it's not falling off the edges and just melting in the, I'm heating it up in the air fryer, or toasting in the air fryer. Do that as well. So let me take these off, and then I'm going to wait for the little burger slider buns to be. Okay, so we've got our burger patties. I don't know if you can see that steam coming off of them. Okay. It's cold here right now for Georgia, so I'm like seeing a lot of steam. So yes, just waiting on the burger patty or the sliders right now, and those will come out in just a minute. Okay, so I have now my gluten-free, dairy-free little slider rolls that are out from the toaster. I made sure that they're heated all the way through. That's the only thing about gluten-free kind of breads. I really like them typically when they're toasted all the way through. I just think that that gives it kind of softens everything up, and it just is easier to eat that way. Now the cheese did melt pretty good actually. You can see here, it looks kind of like the consistency that I would expect for regular cheese, but a little bit less gooey or whatever, but I really like that. So I'm gonna start off with the special sauce, that the Primal Kitchen that I mentioned earlier. Give it a little shake. It doesn't have, I don't think it has that pickle relish in there. So you just need to make sure to add that if that is kind of the texture that you're going for. So I'm gonna just kind of spread this, as you can see, like on my little slider. And we're literally just going to make just a few right now, and then I will try them as well. Okay, for the cheese, by the way, I literally just like folded it until it fit. That's how I got it to fit. So I didn't even cut it. You could, just did it super simple. Now I have the grilled onions here, and I'm gonna put that on the bottom as well, just to the liking. And I'm just gonna use the same as that butter spoon, or the butter knife, because this just makes for less dishes. So let's just do it. Okay, so I've got a few there. I'm gonna put a pickle on the bottom. So these are the Grillo pickles. I'm trying to find sizes that are kind of like a good fit for the little patty. So those look good. And now I want to put the beef burger patties on top. So I'm gonna kind of look and eyeball, and I'm gonna find the ones that are similar in size, or this will be fun. So I'm just gonna go like that, and then for that one, I'm just gonna use my fingers. I'm just gonna put it on there. So we've got those that fit in there. So now we've got the grilled onions, the pickle, the patty. The cheese is already melted. These tomato slices were pretty big, so you might need to cut them in half. One of them I'll let my husband try, so I'll just throw that on. But for mine, I'm just gonna leave it. You build it how you want it. So however you like eating your burgers at In-N-Out, just do it like that. Okay, this feels like a game of Jenga a little bit. I don't want anything to fall. So I'm gonna put that one on top. What you could do, if you're doing these for like the Super Bowl for like an appetizer, you could even put a toothpick in it, and that might help them hold together, because they look a little bit like they could just fall apart. So I'm just gonna grab a few, and I'm just gonna, these are actually not the right kind now that I look at them. You're probably gonna need the kind that have like the big sword, or they have like a little something at the top. I don't know what they're called, but that would probably be really good, just so they don't go like falling apart on you. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to bite into one and give you the taste test. So let's just get everything out of the way. And I'm gonna try the one without the tomato, since that's the one I would want anyways. And it's a little, the bun is a little toasty and warm. Oh, that looks good. Let's see if you can see this. Hopefully you kind of got to see a close-up of that. This will be fun because I'm gonna take a big bite on camera. Okay, we'll see. That's really good. I really like that. This is a Hawaiian roll, so there's a little bit of a sweetness. And then the special sauce is a little bit tangy. I really like the crunch from the lettuce and the pickle. And the pickle, I don't even feel like you need pickle relish, unless you prefer that, because I taste the pickle that's right there. The beef, I didn't do anything special to the beef. I literally just added sea salt, because I kind of sometimes like the beef to just be by itself and be like, just have a really good, I use grass-fed beef, but really you could use whatever kind of beef you want. Usually I think the fattier, they would say the better, but you just use what you like, what percentage of crappy. This is really good. I really like that. I'm struggling not to eat more of that right now because it's so good, but it'll take me forever to keep chewing. So that is how you make gluten-free, dairy-free, In-N-Out Monster Burger style little sliders. Use these for your Super Bowl appetizers. And then really, if you have a mixed group of people coming that some of them do have allergies, but some don't, you might even want to put a little sign that goes along with something like that saying that it doesn't contain dairy, it doesn't contain gluten, it doesn't contain soy. Always check your labels, obviously, because if you use different things, you just need to make sure that it doesn't have those specific things and just double check those yourself. But that'll be really helpful for people that feel like they're missing out. And I don't know about you, but I love a good burger, kind of related to, I'm not really much a fan of watching the Super Bowl. I like the commercials a little bit. Sometimes the halftime show is pretty fun, but besides that, I'm not really a huge fan because I'm not hugely into sports, which is really unusual for being in the South because everybody loves football, college football especially. I'm okay with it. I just get too much into it, so I usually just don't watch it just because of that. But these are really tasty. These are very simple. I mean, you saw how easy they were to make. And I definitely think that the people that you're serving, or you yourself, this could even be like a light dinner. That's what I'm gonna do. Me and my husband are gonna do. We're gonna have a few of these, have it as a light dinner. You could do a few more pickles as your side. Cause I think, hey, pickles, cucumbers, it's kind of like having your vegetable, right? And then the lettuce. And then you can have it with potato chips that are with maybe like an avocado oil type of potato chips. I really like the, I can't think of the brand, but anyways, then you can have that and that's its own meal really. So hope you enjoy. If there's any other recipes that you're interested in kind of seeing a gluten-free, dairy-free version, make sure to drop it in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe as well. I do gluten-free and dairy-free content exclusively. I do meal inspiration, recipe ideas. I do taste testing of different restaurants because it's always really hard to find restaurants that you can go to without feeling like you're a burden when you're asking different people, things like that. So if you're interested in content like that, this is the place for you. So make sure to hit that subscribe so you don't miss out when I release a new video.